I'm currently running Google Ads for an e-commerce brand which does $1.4 million per month in revenue exclusively using Google Ads with just 3 different campaign types. And in this video, I'm going to go over exactly what those campaign types are, the strategy behind this level of scale, and how you can use this approach for your own e-commerce brand. But before we go into the actual nitty-gritty details, let's first understand the level of scale on a deeper level along with the business itself. This brand, as I mentioned, does $1.4 million in any average month of the year at a 8.41x ROAS. So we're extremely profitable with this brand because overall, the average order value that this brand works with is $170. And here's the catch, the break-even ROAS for this brand is no more than a 3x. So running at an 8.41x ROAS means this brand is left with a lot of profit, a lot of room to grow, which is basically a dream for most brands. But unfortunately, as we know, most brands are not able to achieve this level of scale, that alone at a multi-7-figure level. So what makes this brand so unique and so different, and why do we just have 3 campaign types mostly working for this brand? Well, first and foremost, the average order value for this brand is roughly $170 because it is a brand which sells high-end fashion accessories, suits, linen shirts, linen pants, so on and so forth. And in fact, I've already made a full-on case study on this brand, but this brand was featured on Fox News and Shark Tank. So they have a lot of clout outside, they have a lot of exposure, and all of this exposure then goes back to Google to do a little bit of searching, and we're able to capture onto that demand. Of course, ensuring that branded search is only accounting to about 5 to 10% of the overall ad spend as well as the total revenue. But overall, this brand just targets the United States, and when we initially began with this brand, which was roughly a year ago at this point, the main goal was fairly simple. They wanted to achieve $150,000 in total ad spend because during the time we began work, they were nowhere close to this level of scale. All they wanted to do was achieve $150,000 scale at a 7x ROAS, 6x to 7x on average. And during this time, because when we first started, they were at a much lower profitability level. I mean, if we go back in time, we can see during this time, they were at a 4.7x, 4.8x, in some situations, a 5x ROAS. But the moment we actually began work, we were not only able to achieve a 5x, 6x ROAS, but stabilize it at almost an 8x ROAS at over $1 million to $1.5 million in total monthly revenue. So this all happened because we cut out all of the BS, all of the campaigns which were not working, to focus on the 3 major campaign types. And these 3 major campaign types for this brand at this point is performance max campaigns along with standard shopping and surprisingly YouTube campaigns. Now we do have a little bit of search campaigns. This first one right here is just a branded search, that's why we can exclude that. But new search campaigns just are starting out because we are just starting to focus more on search campaigns because we are so profitable. The only reason why we didn't have search campaigns initially was because this brand historically was never truly profitable with search campaigns. But essentially, performance max campaigns, YouTube, and standard shopping is the main reason this brand is able to do 1.4 million. I see so many brands out there trying to launch this campaign, that campaign, have 3, 5, 10 different campaigns running all at the same time, but they're not able to achieve anywhere close to this level of scale, which we achieved with just 12 different campaigns running. You know, the interesting thing is, and the main reason why these campaigns ended up so successful, so profitable, is because all of these campaigns have a specific function in the overall funnel. The main reason why we were able to scale this brand so aggressively and get it to this level of profitability is because we looked at the business as a whole as one funnel rather than kind of dividing it out into multiple different parts. What that means is essentially we wanted to create a campaign structure where each campaign would be either going after one specific traffic type, whether it's cold traffic or retargeting, and it would be going after one specific type of product or product collection or sub collection that this brand was selling. And because we segregated everything out along with the different campaign types, everything ended up working in unity while at the same time going after different factors. So the biggest thing here was that we prevented any type of internal competition and internal bidding from happening, which by the way is the #1 reason why most brands I see today fail with Google Ads, which I get this data from the audits I do regularly under my Google Ads agency, which by the way, if you run a brand doing 50,000 or more per month in revenue and you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we we can potentially work together and make that happen. But essentially, segregating everything out in its own campaign tab was the first major step we took in changing up the entire trajectory of this brand. The second thing we did was basically stacking all of the similar products into their own perspective campaigns. So for instance, this is a catch-all campaign which we are running at a very high target ROAS. All of the products are in here, but the main goal of this campaign is to just run at a very, very high target ROAS restriction and get all of the potentially lost sales. This campaign right here, a PMAX campaign, is running and showing only the polos that this brand sells. So polo shirts, polo t-shirts, long sleeves, etc. That's the only thing we are targeting here, nothing else, and it's all based on real data. This search campaign is for the polo shirts, so it's working hand in hand with the PMAX. And then this one is targeting polos as well, but especially branded keywords only. And the reason why is because we want to have a healthy mix of branded as well as cold traffic keywords coming in to the accounts, and on the surface level, on the top level, feeding the entire account with positive keywords, which we can then use to further scale. Because keep in mind, branded keywords help just as much as cold traffic, and you don't want to completely get rid of them. But basically, all of these campaigns right here have been optimized and have been launched based on previous data. So the insight section has been our best friend for a very long time within this ad account, because that is essentially what we are devouring on a 28-day basis to figure out what new keywords we're ranking for, how much influence branded search is having versus cold traffic search, and how we can expand to other keyword types. So whatever is increasing in terms of the keyword search volume, we're getting more sales with, we're trying to incorporate more of that into the back end. And whatever is decreasing, whatever is going down, we're either stopping our campaigns from focusing on those products or those types of keywords, and we're diverting the focus on what is actually working right now. Because since this is a fashion brand, we need to be ensuring that we are working with the seasons as well. So analyzing those keywords, analyzing the bids that those keywords are working on is helping tremendously. But the biggest difference that we are doing now in terms of the campaign tabs, because as I said, from YouTube campaigns, Performance Max, and Standard Shopping, we are now just recently expanding to search. We are incorporating more of an education-based structure and style for the search campaigns, which is actually working fairly well. So if we look right here, this campaign already has 35 conversions. It's cold traffic, but running at a 4.62x ROAS. All we're doing is we're running this campaign and the keywords within it to a blog page that talks about the brand as a whole, that talks about the products this brand sells, and is doing a fairly decent job of getting a lot of traction coming in, a lot of potential revenue coming through the door as well. So just having the major campaign tabs first, which is what I recommend for most of the brands. Here's the main issue. Most brands try to go in with this lump sum approach where they're either going with only one campaign type, or they have 5, 4, 6, 7 different campaign types running all at the same time. They're trying to do 10 different things at once. You need to ensure that your brand at any given time to scale to this level at any time needs to be first focused on one campaign tab and needs to perfect that campaign tab first. In this situation, we've perfected the Standard Shopping and the Performance Max campaigns first before we expanded onto YouTube. And then eventually YouTube, although it's not the highest return on ad spend, does a great job of getting viewed through conversions, which means people watch the video but then go on Google or go on Facebook or go on another traffic source and purchase that product. We're able to see this via triple whale and also the back-end information here that we're able to see. But essentially, all these campaigns are now working hand in hand, but the main goal is to start with one major one, get it optimized as much as possible before you eventually start scaling to other campaign tabs. And just having 3 campaign tabs is more than enough right now to scale to multi 6, 7, and even in some situations 8 figures in revenue with Google Ads. But if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google, go onto my website, theovermarketing.com, and schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can work together and help you scale to these levels.